All right. I am not feeling very good today, and I think it is because my diabetes and high blood pressure. I probably have to go to a doctor sooner or later for my condition. I wasted a lot of time today. And sometimes I get an awakening, but I always go back to the same old person. I was watching The Blue Knight. It was a TV movie, 1973, with William Holden. And it was all right. But yeah, I'm just trying to think of something real quick. Something I may want to say. I know my show, I did a thing on crime and punishment. Here we go. I love it. Boo hoo hoo. There it is. Boo hoo hoo. Yes. The mic. Does donning armor want the mic? Let's see here. Anyone want to? Now my friends, or my so-called friends on Discord, really hate that I give the mic to donning, but I don't care. People should be who they are. But I mentioned that film because there's a scene in there where the death, William Holden plays the police officer, 20-year police veteran, and he's talking to the father of a murdered junkie prostitute. And he said something along the lines that's some kind of prayer, and then, but what I got mostly is the last thing he says. It doesn't make much sense now. And losing my parents, I'm kind of under the realization that things don't often make sense. And that's just the way it goes. When my father was dying, that's when he got real. All the other stuff, he was like, I was full of shit most of my life. I couldn't see past my own nose. Maybe I'll be like that too. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. Donning, how are you?
I'm doing well, brother, and I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your parents. Much love to them. And yeah, when we're close to the gate, we tend to see things differently. However, I did read a response that you had in James Haig's channel. You said that he showed a lot of stoicism dealing with me. Uh, so I'm willing to delve into that topic with you. Do you have a lot of stoicism dealing with me, or are you gonna act like a? I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, I mean, I thought that, like I said, he didn't get angry when
Fuck
you
you.
like he handled his anger rather
No,
well.
suck a duck, fool.
How's that?
Are you going to act angry with me?
I don't think so. Why would I act angry with you?
Have I ever done anything that merits a hostile response?
Was that? Let me ask you this: was that a was was what I said a hostile response?
I didn't say that it was a hostile response. I said anything that I have done or said, does it merit a hostile response with your little faggoty friends?
Um, no, but Hake is the exception to the rule, and the thing is, when you say what you say, on average, you would get a hostile response. I'm not saying that he would be correct in that. I mean, like that a hostile response would be correct, but on average,
Dude, Hake is a pathetic little coward. That's what he is. He's a coward. There's nothing about Hake that extrudes masculinity of any kind. People look at Hake and they laugh inside, especially non-white people, because Hake is a coward. And he's lived a life where uh, Jesus is Lord, Christianity is safe, and I love Jesus, and that's the only thing that he's ever known, and it's pathetic, and it's turned him into the man that he is today. That is to say, not much of a man at all. And I will tell this to James Hake, and I'll say it on your show. At least I'm upfront about it, right?
that's
Like,
yeah, that's correct.
yeah. So I'll say it to him, I'll say it to you, and I'll say it to anybody else out there. When people say that, like the Christian right, conservative, MGTOW type people, well, that's how we're going to save our society and save our culture. No, it's not. That's how you turn men into man babies. That's how you turn men into James Hakes. Nobody wants that. He's a coward. He's a loser. He's a nothing.
Well,
And I love him, but
yeah.
he's also a nobody.
Well, I don't say I get everything from him. I'm not a Christian myself. Little Nikki, you are in the room. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's really good to hear from you.
It's
I
nice
have
to hear
not
you
heard from
too.
you in a while.
Yeah.
Um, and you did give me support, by the way, when I had a little tiff with one of the people there. And you are one of the people that do not like the immigrants, the amount of immigrants that are coming to your. Oh, wait. Oh, Donning left. I don't know why he did. But you were one of the people who says, you don't like all the immigrants that are coming to your country, or the amount of immigration that is coming to in your nation of the UK.
No, I don't. I find it quite frightening. I mean, I'm quite lucky where I am in England. I'm in the northeast, so we still have quite a high percentage.
Of British, of
Yeah,
British,
yeah, it's like
British
92% or
ethnicity.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite high.
Is she saying anything interesting, or should I take the microphone again?
Dunning.
Well, I was interested about the what's happening in Britain and the amount of immigration. Now, is it usually the wealthy that are the ones that are anti-Brexit and are about? 'Cause,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
the
definitely.
the wealthy you know, all the wealthy elites who do not perhaps deal with with the immigration system. Now, do you have any like friends or family that are pro immigrant, like who think having immigration, having the amount of immigration that is happening in Britain? Do you have friends and family that support it?
No.
Yeah,
In a word, no.
you know, because I
Um,
mean, Brexit. The reason, from my understanding, the reason for Brexit,
mhm.
uh, I think the primary reason was to stop immigration.
Yes, yeah, that's right. You're right. It was.
And it doesn't seem to have helped.
It's got
Really?
worse. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
got
is
a
there
lot worse.
any plans on having a immigration reform? Like, I mean, does Britain have any control over? Do the people of Britain have any control?
We don't get to have any say in it whatsoever. It's purely the government who decides.
Now, could you have a? I wonder if you could have like the same thing with Brexit regarding immigration. Say we want to put a halt to immigration and we want to deport.
I think um, it may come to that point if the people rise up.
If you're curious
Mhm.
to find a way between an English woman's legs,
Stunning,
the key.
really.
Excuse me, excuse me. I don't know who this woman is. Excuse me. The key word is Habibi.
That is just, dawning is now is dawning upset with you, by the Nikki? Is
Sorry, is he what?
Oh, I was just kidding. Habibi.
Jesus.
That's how you find your way between a English woman's thighs.
I think it's the same thing with American women too. I think that word is very attractive to
Jeez.
to
No, go for it, Brian. What were you going to ask, sir?
oh no, I was just curious because it's not that often that I get a person from beyond the pond to from across the pond and a nation that, I mean, to a degree our nations are, you know, similar. We both speak English. I think we have a few of the, you know, quite a few of the customs of of the island. So although
The only reason why I know that you exist, Brian,
yeah,
is because Nikki sent me a clip, and I met her out of the blue, and
yeah.
she sent me a clip where you responded to me calling into the James Hake report. And now that I'm no longer friends with James Hake, and I'm no longer friends with Nick, I can't remember his name. They're a bunch of clowns. They're liars. They're deceitful bastards. And
Little harsh.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not. Do you consider James Hake to be a deceitful bastard?
okay, that might have been a little bit harsh. That might have been a little bit harsh. He's not a deceitful bastard, but I do think that he's a liar, and I do think that he's on the wrong side of the field. None of them will acknowledge what is truly going on, which is race is real. Race is real. Hake, nor Nick, nor Jesse Lee Peterson will acknowledge that fact. They hide it, and they hide it behind this clown show about I'm black and I'm slow and all this kind of nonsense. Well, the fact of the matter is that race is real and it does mean something. They will not talk about it. They are your typical conservative cucks. And you'll never hear them say anything other than that. They'll keep playing their show and getting their super chats because that's all they care about.
Well, I mean, I say it's. I mean, I certainly acknowledge that it is real, but there's not a whole hell of a lot that I can necessarily do about it. And I have a different opinion than yours on the matter. I still want to try different avenues. That's just my, I mean, I don't think America is going to be America is going to kick out all of its immigrants, and I don't have a problem with immigrants. I don't have a problem with people who treat me with respect. Uh, however, have seen a very, very vicious thing from the left, and
Is there a difference between races? Period. Is there a difference? Or are we all the same? Are you going to do the JP nonsense that we're all the same? We all come from the same zygote.
I don't think so. I don't think we're all the same, but I get along. But that doesn't mean that I cannot get along with different types of people and find nobility in different types of people.
Well, nobody, nobody out there, anybody that's worth their salt, is going to tell me that I don't get along with other people. I get
Yeah.
along with other people just fine.
Yeah,
But the
but
fact of the
Donning,
matter-
you can be quite abrasive.
Shut up, woman.
Stop it.
See, I mean,
I'm
you can't.
sorry.
I mean, the thing is, do you think it helps your cause? And look, I'm angry too. Look, I'm angry at things too, and I'm passionate as well. And I have a very, yesterday my show was about caning criminals, and after these riots and the likes, I kind of looked at authoritarian nations that cane and chop off hands and do things like that. I kind of looked at them kind of more favorably, countries that deal harshly with their degenerates.
But you don't want to live in a society that condones that type of behavior, right?
What's that?
I said you don't wish to live in a society that condones caning or the chopping of hands.
I wouldn't want to
You
live in a society that chops off hands, but for violent criminals, I am open to the idea of inflicting pain on those who inflict pain on the innocent. I'm being honest, and I guess that's funny, but that's yeah, I do.
no,
I
it's
agree. I
it's
agree.
not
I
funny.
think we
No,
should.
she agrees with you completely. I'm
I
sorry.
think
Yeah, go
that
ahead.
we should bring back hanging in Great Britain, most
Oh
definitely.
yeah, that might work. Yeah, I mean, hang them, maybe the electric chair, maybe the fire
Yeah,
squad.
definitely. I'm all for it.
Yeah, and people who get violent, give them a taste of the rattan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is wrong with you people?
I'm just telling it like it is. Now I don't donning. Okay, okay. If okay, I'm not going to put your name up there, Donning Guzzles. Okay, if you come on with a different name,
I give him my condolences. Hey, he can do whatever he wants. It's
all right. If
okay.
you want to bring this guy on, this is a real, Donning Guzzles. Donning Guzzles, are you here or have you left the room? Oh, geez, I'm not. No, I'm removing you. Get the hell out of here! Nonsense. Give me a break. Come on with the, I mean, geez, Louise.
You know, in all honesty, I might be a bit abrupt. I might be. I might be somebody that people cannot find palatable. However, I do sip, so I don't guzzle. That's to me, guzzling is it's just beyond me. Mic free.
There we go. So we got Nate here, and you know, I was rather angry, and I've been angry about the life. Nate, have you listened to any of the show, or have you?
Oh no, dude! I literally woke up at 10:07 p.m. because I'm a degenerate that hates being alive during the daytime.
Oh, you're a vampire, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, ladies, be aware we have a vampire here. You know.
I just say glug glug.
I think Dawning's a daytime vampire, and is a nighttime vampire, and they are both out and about, and yeah. So yeah, Nikki, how do you feel about what Dawning said about race? Do you agree, or would you disagree with him?
In what sense?
Dawning, well, and you know what, Dawning, do you want to repeat anything that you said to me, or like, and what? Now he does say the 7. Can I mention? Oh, you know, Dawning, if you want to go ahead and make a statement, and then I'll see if the crowd agrees.
It's the 14 words, not the 17 words. Come on, you gotta get it right, bro.
Yeah.
And yes, I do believe in the 14 words, and we should secure a future for our children. There's no doubt about it. Anybody that says that we shouldn't secure a future for our children, they can go to hell. And I wish to expedite that for anyone that thinks that white people should go extinct. If you think that, go to hell. Mike Free.
Nikki, do you have a response to that?
It's quite difficult for me, as I say, to kind of see it happening because it's not happening where I am. Like I say, I think it would be a real shame. But I'm still quite lucky that we're not being infiltrated by other ethnicities.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Can you?
We are predominantly
what the fuck is going on here?
We are predominantly white where I am, so I don't see that happening. I'm quite away from London, so I don't come into contact with that. I don't see it.
Should we secure the borders, and should we ensure that there's a future for white children?
Of course.
All right. So then she agrees with the 14 words. Thank you.
Well, again, that's But now, have you been to London? And is it what like is it? Do you see the effect?
Yes, I've lived all over the world, and yeah, London it's not a nice place. I don't like it. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see what's happened to it.
Too many joggers over there in London.
Well, there is one thing I would say about Europe, right? It would be really nice to live there, except I have to be around Europeans.
I
mean, other than that, it'd be fantastic, except the Europeans.
There's plenty of places where you don't have to be around Europeans. It's called anywhere but Europe.
Yeah. Now, Nate, have you traveled? I don't think you've traveled much of the world. So, I mean, have you?
No, the farthest I've been is I've been to some islands off the coast of SC. Then I've been to Missouri.
Ah.
Jesus
Christ. North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee too.
So
I'm not really the opposite coast though, or out of country now.
Bro.
Wow.
Bro. You're talking about shit that you don't even know about.
Well, come on. All right, Dawning. I mean, first of all,
talking about shit you don't know about. Like, I'm not on the internet and get to talk to Europeans every single day.
Bro.
Excuse me.
Guys, let's keep it civil. I mean, let's try to keep more civility here, please.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, he didn't claim to know about anything. I don't think he just
No,
said,
I made a joke about Europeans.
well, that's true. I mean, that's that's you know. And I thought that Nikki laughed, and she's European. She's in Europe, and Europe. I'm of European descent largely, and you know, I only observe Europe through the internet. I mean, even though I was born in Germany, my parents left there. You know,
Dude,
yeah. Go ahead.
brother, Brian, you haven't been anywhere.
I've been,
All you know.
How do you know that?
yeah, I've been to
I
Mexico.
know, Brian. He's told me.
I've been to Mexico.
Oh, congratulations.
Hola.
I've been around the world myself.
Really?
Yes.
Where have you
sure.
Did
been?
you guzzle or drink? I'm kidding.
I guzzle.
Around the
Yes.
world in 80 ways. Johnny Armour. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I get it. I get it. Very funny.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, I've been to places where I know that I am the minority.
Have
I've
you
been.
Yeah. Have you been to Africa, like South Africa or Zimbabwe?
Why the hell would I go there?
You don't
Africa's
have to
lovely.
go outside of your state to be surrounded by mostly black people, right? I'm in South Carolina. I could drive like an hour and be on like the rough side of Anderson and see nothing but black people.
Would you
So
be okay
neither one of you have been outside of your own country, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I've been to Siargao. I've been to the Philippines. I've been to Vietnam. I've been to China. I've been all over the place. So when I go there, I understand that they have their own place. That's their people. There's nothing wrong with that. I've been to Singapore. I've been to Malaysia. I've been to these places.
And you've been to Singapore and you're against caning?
Okay, you're mixing up
I was kidding.
different things. Okay, I hope that you're kidding, because when it comes to actual punishment, am I against caning or am I against that type of, the repercussions for particular crimes? No, not necessarily. They do that in those parts of the world. However, I'm not necessarily for it.
I have gravitated more towards that. We have a lot of fanaticism in this country, and I have gravitated more towards physical punishment. Nate, do you have anything to add or anything that you want to add in here?
Right now I am looking for my pants.
Okay, you can travel the world. Who's looking for your pants? So I have not traveled the world. Now, Joey, JP, Jewish producer Joey, he has been to Korea and Japan and other parts of Asia, and he developed a love for Korean cuisine. Now, Nikki, now you have also. Do you have a favorite part of the world that you really enjoyed? Besides your home country.
Yeah, I think I've enjoyed everywhere I've been. I don't think there's been anywhere where I've kind of thought, I'm not keen on this.
Now you've been to. I imagine that you've been to America.
I haven't.
What?
Yeah. It's the one place I just no.
Where we discovered the Beatles. John Lennon was shot in our country. Did you know that?
Yes.
well, that's such a. I'm just. Sometimes I go through the jokes, but now, so you've never You never. Now, did you just not have a desire to go to America?
No, it was just never one of the places that really I was attracted to. I really like sort of North Africa.
Okay.
I've been all over Europe, Germany,
Mhm.
France, Spain, Switzerland, Denmark, Italy. Lived in Northern Ireland for a couple of years. But my favourite, I think, of everywhere was the Maldives.
Really?
That was like paradise. I could have quite happily just set up a little nail bar on the beach and lived the rest of my life there.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I yeah, I haven't. Now, Dawning Gender, have you traveled to many places besides Canada and sticking snow up your anus?
Yeah, yes, I have, Brian. I'm gonna stick some stuff in your anus, Brian.
Give me a break. And your dreams. But what parts of the world have you been?
Okay, I have been in America. God damn it! Oh shit.
Yeah, shut that dog up. All right, Nate. So you've when you went to these black part of towns, would you want to raise a family there? Would it be safe? Do you think it would be safe for you? And you would. And oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Give me a second, brother.
All right.
Yeah, like as I was saying, I mean, like in certain parts of like majority black Greenville, that wouldn't be a problem. But like some areas of like majority black Anderson, like no, no.
Now, did you ever, Nikki? Did you ever live in a part of England that was diverse?
No, I don't think I have.
Have you heard the horror? Do you have any family or friends that lived in diversity and then escaped it?
No, not really.
Honestly, right, for me, lots of this is like cultural. Like the funniest thing is most people in South Carolina are fine almost no matter where they are, right? Because you sort of do have that southern hospitality thing in lots of areas. Everyone will wave to you. They just get freaked out. They go up north, right? Like when I was in Missouri, like everyone that went with me fucking hated it because everyone up north just fucking stares at you like you're a lunatic if you wave to them.
Yeah, there. I mean, like if you travel outside, into certain areas, it is a culture shock. The one thing that when I went to Texas, the one thing that I saw was there was more integration there because I thought the South, the only thing that I knew of the South at that time was, segregation and Jim Crow. But I saw far more integration, like people owned, like they had black neighbors and stuff, more so than here in California. Blacks and whites don't necessarily live together the way they lived in the South, together in the South. So I was kind of impressed a little bit by that. I've just, what I have seen recently has put a strain on me, and I see certain ideologies getting through that seem to be rather pervasive and are not very conducive to any kind of harmony.
Yeah, what I've seen though that largely affects crime rate, right, is just to show you how complex this can be, is even factors like weather, right? Like if you look at some of the states with the lowest homicide rates, I think number one is Maine, and it's because no one wants to go the fuck outside because you'll freeze your dick off, right? So if you really want to live in like a low crime area, just move to a place where like it's too cold to go outside, and you probably won't get murdered.
Well, I also think that, and I could be wrong on this, but a lot of the data shows that there is a a difference within morality today than there was in yesteryear. And, you know, Thomas Sowell, he did a segment on, you know, two blackouts in New York, one 1965, the other 1978. And he said there was far more crime in 78 like than in 65. It just you know, like the behavior the morals and the behavior had completely changed. And I do think that by the 1970s, people addicted to drugs became far more prevalent, and just a lack of moral restraint, uh, you know, became far more prevalent. I mean, I think religion and shame, like if you stole or you were a thief, you were considered scum, basically. You know, and now that stigma of being a criminal is not there anymore.
I sort of disagree, right? Because what we've seen in dare communities past the 80s, when we actually started enforcing heavier drug laws, is actually these dare communities had a worse problem with drugs just because it created more awareness about the situation. Rates of drug use in dare neighborhoods went up.
Yeah, I don't
Also,
know
that
about
program never really worked, Brian.
what's that.
That drug awareness program never worked.
Well, no, I don't think that drug awareness program ever worked.
Yeah. But even the legislature that followed it, right? Stuff that made marijuana a Schedule 1 drug, right? It made it so that you can be tried more for crack cocaine than regular cocaine and get a longer sentence, quite disproportionately so. It doesn't, and it doesn't have seemed to have worked at all, really.
Well, the 1994 crime bill was rather effective in lowering crime, and I think it's kind of a sad state of affairs, and I thought it was a sad state of affairs that the civil rights movement turned to basically it champions degenerates and criminals in general. And I think it's a sad state of affairs where they're talking about powdered and raw cocaine. I think either way, you know, if you're dealing in that stuff, you're kind of scummy. Donning Armor, do you have anything to add on this?
I certainly do. These people are talking about crime rates when it concerns, I guess, drug use. Is that what we're all talking about?
Well, I mean, drug
Yeah.
and overall diversity, I think, has gone up.
Okay, well, the fact of the matter is that blacks are more likely to commit drug crimes across the board. Now, we're constantly told that there's some kind of criminal thing going on when we arrest people for crimes, habitual crime rates when it comes to marijuana, cocaine, so on and so forth. The fact of the matter is that black people are more likely to habituate these types of endeavors. They are the ones that are doing it.
Yeah, they are. And that coincides with my point. What's really interesting, you can look up some nice studies. There's a really good one from the Georgia Department of Corrections, where they look through the entire conviction history of Georgia. And they only selected first-time offenders, right? And controlled for significant variables, like the degree of the crime, right? And what they found is the darker your skin, the longer the prison sentence. So it seems like the more you actually punish people instead of, you know, unless you have like a surveillance state like China, it's not really effective.
There's also statistics that show that if you get a judge after lunchtime, that they are more likely to sentence you to a longer time than before lunchtime. So these things are variables. They do have an impact. However, the fact of the matter is that black people tend to commit these crimes more often than white people. They tend to do it in a way that is more likely for them to succumb to prosecution. So it's not my fault.
You,
You know what
you
I mean?
say that, but black people are arrested for marijuana consumption way more than white people, even though we have stats out there that show white people and black people
And black
consume
people are
marijuana
more
at regular rates.
yes, and black people are more likely to commit uh, those types of crimes.
You know
And
what's really
they're more
interesting,
likely
right?
to
Everyone
be
fucking
arrested.
commits crimes. This nonsense is fucking nonsense, goddamn.
You want to know the best part is like this isn't one study. There is studies that show that the arrest rates of African Americans drop after sundown as compared to white people because it's harder to see a black person at
And
night through a car windshield.
is that because white people have some privilege, or is that because black people are more likely to commit those offenses?
Why would the offense rates drop after night for black people but
All right,
not
let
for
me ask
white
you this,
people?
Nate. What about the murder rate?
Yeah, the murder rate, it's bad. What's causing it?
Never mind the murder rate. What I'm saying is this due to white people getting away with it because of egalitarianistic laws? Let there's some systemic racist statute, or is it
There certainly is systemic racism. I can give you
is
very specific pointed
I
cases
haven't
of
finished.
racist legislature
I
in
was
my
very close
states.
to finishing, but I'll finish anyway.
You asked the
Is
question. Don't
it,
ask the
is it
question if you
due
don't want an answer, bud.
to the fact that black people are more likely to commit these offenses, or is it due to the fact that the system is set up against black people? Which is more likely?
I think it's more likely that there are certain parts of our systems that are biased against black people, especially
Okay.
because this is somewhat an
Which part?
individual issue. I'm
Which
sorry, did you not
parts?
just ask another question? Do you not
Which
like it when
parts?
I
Which
answer your
parts
question?
are more
Wait,
systemically?
I mean, Donning, if you're gonna, if you guys one at a time, and you know, like
Okay, which parts of the system are more geared towards assaulting black people or
You can
offending?
see he doesn't care. He's fine just interrupting the
all
host
right,
of the
guys.
show, trying to
Okay,
direct the debate.
all right.
I don't have to make the argument. You
We
just
go.
make yourself look like that.
Can we go one at a time, please? Nate, you have the floor.
Oh, okay. Where were we at? We were talking about do you think yeah. Okay, so basically I know that there's enclaves of people that affect black people disproportionately. We know this because there's been several cases. One of those closest to me is how black people were almost discriminated against in North Carolina. This I think was around 2016. North Carolina tried to pass legislature and basically the Republican Party of North Carolina requested a breakdown of the voter base by race, right? And then tried to use that information to disallow certain black voting booths from being used, booths that were primarily African American used. And there was no other reason for shutting them down. They banned forms of ID that black people were more likely to use. They even shut down certain dates that black people are more likely to vote on. And so this actually went to the Supreme Court and was declared racist and therefore unconstitutional by the Supreme Court itself.
All right, Donning, do you have a response to that?
I don't even know what the hell he's talking about, but what I said was, can we look at these crimes statistics and see if maybe black people are more likely to perpetuate these crimes? It seems to me that they are. Now,
Yeah, and I asked why.
well, why are black people more likely to commit the crimes that that they are convicted of? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, we're talking about the crime
Yes,
rate, right? If we're going to go into 1350, then you've
absolutely.
got to bring up why.
Yes, if we're going to go into the crime rate, I would say that they are more likely to commit those crimes.
That's not a why. You realize this, right?
No, give me an example.
Why would someone murder someone? Maybe they're mad because they're fucking their wife. Maybe they're just a violent sociopath
Who is
and they've
more
got a
likely to
genetic
murder
issue.
someone? Excuse me. Who is more likely to murder someone?
Yeah, black people. Now, why? You're not willing to ask that second question. You're trying to
No, I'm
obfuscate them.
willing to ask this. That's the question that I'm asking. Why are black people more willing to murder somebody?
I literally made the case this entire time that it's
Listen,
that
make
they're
it
disproportionately
again, because
treated
I'm
within the
slow.
legal system, and that seems to affect the crime rate. I made that case through about a piece of legislature, several studies that show
Excuse me.
arrest
Please,
disparities.
sir, please. Can you tell me why black people are more likely to murder somebody than white people? Can you tell me that?
Yes, socioeconomic outcomes that lead to income inequality.
I'm gonna ask a question here. Is there any amount of poverty, Nate, that would cause you to commit an act of murder?
Yeah, it depends. So here's the interesting thing. I was in this area that I've told you about, right? Called Salem, South Carolina. And Salem, South Carolina is just a highway. It's a small town. The highway just leads through it. There's not really black people there. It's 99% white folk, right? And you want to know the interesting thing? That's one of the worst places I've been to. I've been to black areas where I know people I know have been killed. I've been to rough redneck areas where I know people I've known have been killed. But what seems to cause this is some sort of animosity because right beside that highway, there's gated in communities where celebrities live. The Kiwi Keys, they have lakefront property with mansions. And
Black
so when you see that, that sort of creates some sort of antagonism. When people see what they could have every single day, it sort of drives them crazy.
Sir,
And there's a lot of murders in Salem. There's a lot of people that go missing. There's a lot of people that get shot.
black people are more likely to murder people because of animosity of systemic systems of institutionalized racism. Why you keep using these big words, but it doesn't really mean anything. The fact of the matter is the black
I just
people are
gave
more.
you an answer. You're just not
Okay.
happy with it, man.
All right. Let me just chime in here and just say this. I don't think there's any reason any valid reason whatsoever to commit an act of murder, to commit an act of rape, or to commit an act of malicious assault. There is no reason whatsoever, no
I
valid.
agree. I agree. Right. But what you're doing right now is you're confusing a descriptive argument with a prescriptive one. Right. So I am making a description of why, not a prescription. You are giving me an ought, what ought to be. And I agree with the ought.
Well, Nate, you either have morality or you don't.
This is absolute nonsense.
I'm sorry you're upset that you don't like my answers.
I'm not upset. It's just foolish.
This is why I talk to Brian, right? Because I can have a back and forth with Brian, and he doesn't get upset. But you've became increasingly belligerent and upset this entire conversation.
I will drop the microphone. You can talk to Brian.
I'm sorry.
He's just been hitting the bottle a little bit too hard. That's why he's a bit angry.
Okay, that does no good either. That really does no good. That kind of dialogue and anger.
Yeah, hitting the bottle hard isn't so good.
No, it's not.
Hitting the bottle hard is not good. Doing drugs is probably not good. And they probably lead to your judgment being delayed and making.
Isn't it great? Like, you know me, Brian. You know I'm constantly just like smoking weed while I'm on here. I'm not on any drugs tonight.
No,
I can be on drugs to even the playing field. Do you want me to even the playing field?
Excuse me.
Wait,
Don't get sidetracked on the fact of me being a drug addict. Don't get sidetracked on that. Ask the gentleman what he has to say, and we'll find out.
Okay, but if that's an excuse, we can even the playing field.
I'm sorry, Nate. I did not accuse you of that. I just said that does, and over the same thing with overeating. That can also cloud your judgment. I felt like crap today, by the way, awful. And I'm gonna fast right now, and I'm gonna fast. I hope to fast tomorrow and Sunday, just not eat at all, just because my diabetes and my high blood pressure are really out of control, and they cloud my mood and my judgment. So that's for me. And yeah, I'd like to think that I think one of the reasons why there was less murder, less stealing, less rape is there was a universal cultural norm where you did not do things and you had to answer to a higher power, and you had to answer to a neighborhood that was primarily Christian and followed Judeo-Christian laws and ethics, and those morals were very strict in our society. And the one upside to that was there was less crime, and I do believe that. Now I'm not a Christian, but I do believe that when America became more degenerate and more free, the upside was probably there was good sex and probably feel good drugs, but the downside was higher criminality. I truly believe that.
And somewhat, people were doing drugs back then too. You go back to like the deeply religious 1800s, and like it wasn't just marijuana they were smoking; they were going to opium dens, getting fucked up, drinking booze. In fact, what's really interesting about the early days up until like the early 1900s is every single person drank alcohol because it was made to make a safe beverage, basically, right?
Yeah.
You can make low alcohol percentage beer, or you can drink that well water that's probably infected by a bunch of different parasites and fucking die, right? So I feel like this could maybe in the 50s you're referring to, like the 1920s through the 50s, but like anything beyond that, people are pretty fucked up. They were constantly drunk, drank every day, smoked opium, smoked marijuana.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there were always degenerates, but there were far less of them. And like, yeah, but by the late 1900s and the 20s, there was a revival of morality. And I don't, the thing is, from what I gather, the morality was far higher, even when poverty was at its worst. Stealing and crime was far less, and people were had a form of Christian morality and Christian ethics that basically was the glue that kept things together. And it made for a far safer society. Now there were things that were a little bit more unjust and less. I mean, we can get into the perhaps the racism. If you were different, if you fell out of that, it was hard for you. But there was some downsides to certain things, but there were also some upsides to that. One of them being it was a safer community. I do believe that. Could be wrong. Could be completely. Because I used to think that the 1950s was like economically was a great time. But as I began to look into that further, poverty was far worse in the 1950s, not just for Black Americans, but for Americans, a lot of Americans in general. There were.
Are you talking about poverty itself or the poverty rate?
No, well, no, I mean like the poverty rate was pretty bad. I mean, like there were white sharecroppers that had to go and do farm work and farm labor and day laborers, and it was a somewhat like if you were on the bottom of the barrel, it was rough, and living conditions were a little bit more harsh.
Yeah, I actually agree with what you're saying. I'm looking at the data right now. These are both .org websites. The approximate poverty level of the 1950s was around 22%. And in 2021, the high of it was around 14.3%.
Yeah. And, who knows how those poverty rates got better or worse. I just know that I believe that people had a level of morality. If you look at pictures back in the 1950s, even the slums of the Bronx, New York, you would see on Sunday, you would see people dressed in their suits and their families going to service. Not so anymore, and it's part of me is, it's kind of sad, and it is what it is. I don't think perhaps we'll get back to those days. Anyway, I'm going to have to end this. Joe and I are going to
Hey,
do it.
before you end it, I just read the comments and someone said, "Let the lady speak," and then I was thinking, where the fuck did she go?
I don't know where little Nikki went, but she did leave. I do want to say that
I think he was talking about you because you kind of look like a lady, Nate.
Oh, get out of here. Hey, who was the lady that was here, Brian?
That was little Nikki. She's wonderful. I
Oh.
just want to say that at 9:00, we're going. Joe and I, are we still on for 9:00? We're going to be doing a show called Hollywood Goes to Vietnam.
We're still on, and yeah, we're gonna do a show on home.
It's gonna encompass most of the movies that dealt with the Vietnam War, starting primarily with the Green Berets, and then through through time how it has evolved and changed and stuff like that. And you're all welcome to come around. If you have something constructive, hopefully you'll all have something constructive to say. Again, this is something that I would want to look into about poverty and about what causes people to behave the way they do. I think there is I don't want to call it a moral and spiritual battle, but for a person to commit crime and jealousy and envy are dangerous things. And I do believe that leftism and the preaching of leftism creates envy, and that is a bad thing, and it leads to a level of immorality. And Hollywood has kind of done that because they always have these rags to riches stories that are not true, and it causes people to have resentment and ego, and that's a thing that you have to fight within the society. And I think ego causes a lot of problems. Joe, do you have anything to add before I end the show?
No, I like that Nate has some strong. I don't want to say convictions. He has, very nice points of view. And June is a piece of crap. That's about it.
AKA Donning Gender. Do you have anything to add?
Love you too, cutie.
All right, the hell with you. Donning, do you have anything to add?
I most certainly do.
Go ahead.
JP, you absolutely bring nothing to the table. This Nate guy sounds like an intelligent fellow. I'd love to talk to him. And whoever this Nikki person is, she sounds like a whore.
Donnie,
What the fuck?
you bring slurring to our show like none other. Thank you.
Donning, you are entertaining. And you know what? I'll say this about Donning Armour. Donning Armour, oftentimes when I have him on, I get a hell of a lot of listens. And there are people that believe in what he says, even if they believe in it privately and secretly. They agree with what he says. It's not popular to say, but there are people that have his views. And, there could always be a reckoning in this country. And, we could become a very balkanized and very violent nation. And something you want to keep in mind before, individuals dish out punishment, because the punishment can always turn around on you. You can think you can kick the guy's ass and get all angry, but sometimes the tables do turn. So 9:00, guys, we are going to do Hollywood Goes to Vietnam, and listen to that. Hey, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and and then also visit our Rumble page and our YouTube channel, our Rumble channel. Thank you for listening. Woof.
Yep, that was fun.